We're paying our respects to the Soviet era, cutting ties with our old life. I'm trying to honestly hear out all the participants of the socialist drama. Communism had an insane plan to remake the old breed of man, ancient Adam. And it really worked. Perhaps it was communism's only achievement. 70-plus years in the Marxist-Leninist laboratory gave rise to a new man, Homo Sovieticus. Some see him as a tragic figure. Others call him a Sovok. I feel like I know this person. We're very familiar. We've lived side by side for a long time. I am this person. And so are my acquaintances, my closest friends, my parents. For a number of years, I traveled throughout the former Soviet Union. Homo Sovieticus isn't just Russian. He's Belarusian, Turkmen, Ukrainian, Kazakh. Although we now live in separate countries and speak different languages, you couldn't mistake us for anyone else. We're easy to spot. People who've come out of socialism are both like and unlike the rest of humanity. We have our own lexicon, our own conceptions of good and evil, our heroes, our martyrs. We have a special relationship with death. The stories people tell me are full of jarring terms: shoot, execute, liquidate, eliminate, or typically Soviet varieties of disappearance, such as arrest, 10 years without the right of correspondence, and emigration. How much can we value human life when we know that not long ago people had died by the millions? We're full of hatred and superstitions. All of us come from the land of the Gulag and harrowing war. Collectivization, dekulakization, mass deportations of various nationalities. This was socialism, but it was also just everyday life. Back then, we didn't talk about it very much. Now that the world has transformed irreversibly, everyone is suddenly interested in that old life of ours. Whatever it may have been like, it was our life. In writing, I'm piecing together the history of domestic interior socialism, as it existed in a person's soul. I've always been drawn to this miniature expanse. One person, the individual. It's where everything really happens. Why does this book contain so many stories of suicides instead of more typical Soviets with typically Soviet life stories? When it comes down to it, people end their lives for love, from fear of old age, or just out of curiosity from a desire to come face to face with the mystery of death. I sought out people who had been permanently bound to the Soviet idea, letting it penetrate them so deeply that there was no separating them. The state had become their entire cosmos, blocking out everything else, even their own lives. They couldn't just walk away from history, leaving it all behind, and learning to live without it. Diving headfirst into the new way of life and dissolving into private existence, like so many others who now allowed what used to be minor details to become their big picture. Today, people just want to live their lives. They don't need some great idea. This is entirely new for Russia. It's unprecedented in Russian literature. At heart, we're built for war. We were always either fighting or preparing to fight. We've never known anything else. Hence our wartime psychology. Even in civilian life, everything was always militarized. The drums were beating, the banners flying, our hearts leaping out of our chests. People didn't recognize their own slavery. They even liked being slaves. I remember it well. After we finished school, we'd volunteer to go on class trips to the Virgin Lands, and we'd look down on the students who didn't want to come. We were bitterly disappointed that the revolution and civil war had all happened before our time. Now you wonder, was that really us? Was that me? I reminisced alongside my protagonists. One of them said, "Only a Soviet can understand another Soviet. We share a communist collective memory. We're neighbors in memory."